So it's really difficult to communicate this clearly, but I want you to look at this mousetrap, and I want you to see the different parts of the mousetrap. Okay, so you'll see that there's a spring, which obviously it wouldn't snap the way it does. I'm assuming all of you have seen a mousetrap before. If you haven't, here it is. It's right here, so you can look at it right there. But you can see this mousetrap, and you see that there's a place to put the bait. By the way, I don't use cheese. Best thing to use is like chicken fat. Chicken fat works really well. Just take some chicken fat and stick it on there. Make sure you stick it in really tight. And then when the mouse gets it, he tries to pull the chicken fat. The chicken fat kind of knocks this pressure plate right here. There's a pressure plate, and you see it right there. That pressure plate moves. When it moves, moves just enough so that this thing undoes itself, and then this thing comes over and it breaks the neck. Sorry, but to say it breaks the neck of the mouse. And it's a little gross. You get used to it after a while. Get rid of mice or rats. It's like, let's do it. Whatever we can do to get rid of them, and they go for it. These seem to work pretty well. But I've also seen mice and rats figure out how to get the bait without snapping the trap. And if they do that, well, that doesn't work. So that's why you got to kind of make sure the bait's there. I just want to make you look at these different parts and think about the fact, could this evolve by chance? I mean, what would it take for this crazy thing to evolve by chance? Well, you'd have to have a piece of wood. It has to be flat, because if it isn't proper flatness, it's not going to work. And then just by chance, you've got to have this piece evolve, or just not evolve, but show up. So this piece has to show up here, and this bracket that holds it in place, and this bracket that holds that on there, and that bracket, they all have to show up, all three of them. But not only that, they all have to fasten themselves to the wood randomly. I mean, it's not random chance if all of these pieces show up at the same time, but they're not actually fastened onto this flat piece of wood. So you need the flat piece of wood. You need this piece. You need the actual killer part of it. You need the spring, and the spring has to be attached to this thing. So somehow by chance, you've got to have this spring piece, which includes the neck breaker, and you also have to have this bracket, which holds down this plate here. That's got to show up. The flat wood's got to show up. And how on earth are all of these pieces going to be in the right place and then somehow randomly get attached in the right places? What about if this bracket over here shows up over here? Oh, well, that's not going to do any good at all. What about if this piece here shows up back here? And then you're not going to have a mousetrap. You got to have this piece in the right place. You got to have this piece in the right place. You got to have this piece in the right place. You got to have this piece in the right place. All of them have to be in the right place, and all of them have to somehow, amazingly, by random chance, fasten to this piece of wood. Now, you're saying, I don't get the example. Well, the example is this. For a human eye to be able to see, all of the pieces have to be there ahead of time. Nerve endings have to be there. Things in the back of the eye have to be there. A way for light to come in has to be there. The receptors in the brain that are able to interpret the information have to be there. Everything has to be there all at the same time, all working correctly, all at the proper place. And you go, how is random chance going to make that happen? Now you think about it. What about if you have everything on this mousetrap except for the plate? It doesn't do any good. You have to have the plate in order for it to work. What if you have everything on this mousetrap except for this bracket? Well, it's not going to work. What if you have everything except for this bracket? This bracket is the thing that holds it on. It's not going to work. What if you have everything except for the spring? Well, it's not going to work. You have to have all the pieces on it in order for this mousetrap to work. So as you do this project, you need to be thinking. Evolutionists say every day, they say all the time that random chance mutation made new positive additions to an organism like an eyeball that weren't there before, and this new positive addition has all of these interrelated working pieces. And if any one of those working pieces is not there, well, that thing wouldn't work. And if it doesn't work, then it's not to the advantage. The mutation is not to the advantage of the organism. So you say, okay, well, all of the pieces were there, but they weren't in the right place. Well, therefore, guess what? The eye wouldn't work, and therefore the eye is not advantageous. And therefore, that means that the random mutation happening by chance will not be selected by natural selection. It's gone. Then it's useless. Then you start over again. Another random chance mutation, which will have completely different things happening. You don't think that the random chance mutations are going to have all of these things all at the same time. You know, if all of the pieces aren't there, then random chance mutations, so Mousetrap didn't work. So what happens? We start over again. I mean, completely over again. Now you have to wait another million years before all of these pieces are there, and all of them happen to, by chance, be in the right place at the right time, on the right piece of wood, and be fastened in the right way. By chance, all of those things are going to happen. And it's no more likely that this thing is going to happen by chance. I don't think this could happen in a million years. I don't see it. I don't see it happening in a billion years, where all of those pieces are all, and even fastened in the right place, because that's what happens with the human eye or any eye. You say, oh, it happened by random chance mutation selected because it worked. You go, how are all of those pieces going to work all at the same time? Really? Is that going to happen? So as you go through this project, think. Remember, this course is not called Christian beliefs. It's called Christian thought. You need to think, is this really possible? Okay, so giving you your introduction to your project. This is an important project. I mark this project based upon the student answers. I'm very interested to make sure that you explain your answers well. If you give me cheap answers, or you just say what you think I want to hear, but you don't explain it well, you get low credit for it. Okay, this project is serious enough. I want you to think. Because I like thinking, but also because what I want is that when this course is over, what I'm hoping for is that you are going to be thinking rather than just assuming that it's correct. Okay, have a great project.